Okay, now this is the about the content of research project proposal. So if I want to work on a research project, then I have to write a research project proposal and submit it to the uh, funding agency, and they review it, and it is very competitive. So when you want to get a project, then you have to make a very good research project proposal, and then you have to, you know, because there is too much competition, everybody wants to get the project fund. Then if your project proposal is very attractive, then it will be selected for funding. Otherwise, it will be rejected. So there are more chances of the rejection in case of research project proposal, because this is not just academic study. This is some study. This would be some study that you are trying to solve some problem or to provide some guideline. So in the research project proposal, there are many content that are similar to the content of thesis proposal. There would be a cover, there would be a title of a study, okay, abstract or summary. Okay, this is also in the thesis proposal. There will be introduction, there will be objectives of the study. Okay, there will also be a research question, there will be significance of the study. You will state the methodology also in the research project proposal, just like in thesis proposal. You will also discuss the expected outcome of the research. Okay, this is also important. What would be the outcome? And here you have to discuss about the expected work plan or the chart of activities. In our thesis proposal, we don't discuss the expected work plan or chart of activity. This is the new requirement of human resource. In the thesis, you are the only human resource. So the MPhil or PhD student is the resource, and you are alone to work on your thesis, because MPhil thesis or PhD thesis cannot be written in a group. So you are the sole researcher, okay, and the sole author of your MPhil thesis. You will be the sole author of your MPhil thesis or PhD thesis, okay. There will not be any co-researcher or co-author. But in case of research project, uh, you could be alone, or you could be the principal researcher only, or there could be a principal researcher and co-researcher and research assistants. Okay, so you have to state what are the requirement for human resource in research project. Then also requirement for financial resources. You have to present the proposed budget of the project so that you will get the funding equivalent to amount of your budget. And then references and curriculum vitae, CV of the members of the research project proposal. Okay, so this is the additional content in the research project proposal. So other content we will not discuss because we already discussed. So I will only discuss the additional content. So expected work plan or chart of activity uh, is the part of research project proposal, but it is not the part of research thesis proposal. So work plan is a schedule or chart that summarizes the different component of a research project and describes how they are implemented. And it states the duration of the project. Okay, we have to state whether our project is for 4 months or 6 months or 8 months. So we have to state the timeline of our project. And here the researcher lists the various operational steps needed to undertake and indicate against each the duration by which the task will be completed. So we have to state what would be the total duration of our project, and then within that total duration we have to state that each component of the project would be completed in what duration. Okay, so we have to state this. So normally we use Gantt chart, work schedule, or chart of activities to reference to present the time frame of the various stages of study. So this is, I will show you the Gantt chart. Okay, so Gantt chart is a planning tool that depicts diagrammatically. Okay, we make a diagram, and through that diagram we state that various tasks of the project could be completed within that time frame. So each task length is shown by a bar that extend or time allocated for that task. So in the chart of activity or in the Gantt chart, uh, we state a period-wise plan for each study. Okay, and it is possible that two activities can overlap in the same period. Okay, and each activity is given a time duration that can be justified. So, you know, if I am giving 2 months or 3 months for some activity, so I could justify this time period for it, because it is not that uh, that activity could be finished in 1 week and I'm giving 2 months for that activity. So it cannot be justified. So this is the Gantt chart or chart of activities for a research project proposal. So this is, so there are six. So this could be 6 months. Okay, so this is first month, second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, and sixth month. Okay, so in the first month, you say that project will start, so kick off, and then in the first month and second month, these are the, you see, 2 months, you will do the review of literature. You are stating that this is the duration. 2 months is the duration for review of literature and modeling framework. So you will review literature and then you will make your model. Then from third month, you will start the collection of data. So data could be primary or data could be secondary. So in this project, data is secondary. So that's why it is said that collection of secondary data and preliminary analysis. If your research study is based on primary data, so you can say that collection of primary data and preliminary analysis, or you can say that collection of data for questionnaire. So here you have to state the activity. So in this column we state activities, and here so you can see that collection of data is again third and fourth month. It has 2 months duration. But in the same time, when you are collecting the data from the fourth month, you will also start model estimation and forecasting. So here in this period, there is a model estimation. So your model estimation also start, because there is a preliminary analysis. So maybe you will collect data in this period and you are doing preliminary analysis. So from preliminary analysis, there is also model estimation, and then there is a forecasting. Then presentation of draft report. So you will make presentation of draft report in the 6 month, and also by the end of 6 months you will submit your final report. So this is the activity. Now for your own research study, because you have 6 weeks, okay, for your case study research project, so you have to make a chart of activities. Okay, you could say this is first week, second week, up to 6 weeks. So you have to state your chart of activities, how you will work for this case study project which I assigned to you. And there are requirement for human resources. Okay, the researcher needs to explain the proposed personnel requirement and their academic qualification and experience in the field. So if there are more than one researcher to conduct this research project, there will be principal researcher and there will be co-researcher. So you have to give some brief introduction of principal researcher and the co-researcher or investigator, and then You have to provide their CVs, okay, in the research project. So team of the project should be discussed. Okay. Then we have proposed budget or the requirement of financial resources. So So it is necessary that we have to prepare a budget for our research project proposal. Okay. Without budget, then the question is how much fund should be allocated for that research project. So there must be a budget. Okay. So this, budget includes the personnel, financial requirements for salaries and wages and benefits and equipment. You might purchase equipment and materials and supply and data collection. You have to include the cost of data collection and data processing cost. You have to include if there is a questionnaire, then you have to get responses on that questionnaire. So you can say that suppose 100 rupees for each questionnaire. So could be the cost of that data collection. So now if there are 2000 questionnaire you need to get it filled from respondent, then multiply it by 100. Okay. Then there will also be a travel cost if you want to travel some cities in relation to your project. Then you have to include the travel cost. You have to include the daily allowance. You can include utility charges, for example, charges for phone and internet and other. Okay, and other expenditures you can include refreshment. Okay. Then we have to provide references. Okay, in case of research proposal or project, or whether it is a thesis proposal, we have to provide references. So at the end of the research proposal document, okay, the full references of cited studies are presented. So those studies which you cited in your text, for such studies you have to provide the full references in the reference section. Okay, and the it should be noted that a good reference list increase the credibility of the proposal. Okay, so it is very important the literature that you reviewed should be authentic and they are published in index journals. Maybe they are published in some good journals. Okay, so then it will increase the credibility of your research proposal. So we have to follow a proper referencing or bibliographic style. You have to properly check the author's name, year of publication, title of study, and publication source. If there are contradiction in the suppose in the citation, name is different or year is different, and in the references the year or name are different, then it will reduce the worth of your proposal. We normally follow alphabetical order of author name in the reference section when we are listing the references. And once you have written your research proposal, okay, whether it is thesis proposal or project proposal, there should be continuous revision and proofreading. Otherwise, there will be many mistakes. If you just write it and it is the first draft and you submit it, then the evaluation committee will find a lot of mistakes, many mistakes in your proposal, and it is likely to be rejected. Okay, so as in any other piece of academic writing, it is essential to edit, redraft, and finally proofread the research proposal. So first draft and second draft and third draft, you have to make correction, you have to edit, you have to finally proofread your research proposal. We normally check with some computer software. There are Grammarly is available. You can proofread your draft using Grammarly software, so that identify the spelling mistakes and grammar mistake and structure mistake, many mistakes and that software identify. Then sometime we will get feedback from our senior fellows. You can discuss your research proposal with your supervisor. You can discuss with your senior researcher, and they will also give their feedback before it is submitted to the evaluation committee. So it should be noted that a poorly written research proposal is likely to be rejected in the initial review process, whereas a well-articulated, reader-friendly proposal reflects the ability of the researcher to carry out the research. So it is not only the research topic which the review committee focus. Their focus is also on the ability of the researcher to carry out the research, and this ability would be reflected in their research proposal. So you have to make your research proposal in a way that the evaluation committee should be sure that you will work in a professional way and you have the ability to complete the research on time. This is the research activity. So you have to select a research area you already selected, okay, of your interest. So this part you have done because you have decided your research problem and you finalize your research title for this course, case study problem. Then now you have to find and read relevant research material, okay, and then you have to write the research proposal. Now whatever topic you have selected for this course, now you have to write a research proposal, okay, following the guideline. So for you, title you have written. Now what you have to do, you have to write introduction, and in the introduction you have to briefly explain your topic, okay. So I need now introduction, okay. Then I also need what is your research question. So you have to write your research question. I also need from you by next class, next Thursday, what would be your research objectives, okay. So introduction, research question, research objectives, and significance of the study, and you have to state how significant would be your study, okay. And I also need, okay, hypothesis, but right now you cannot make your hypothesis because you have not reviewed the literature, so just skip this, okay. Later on I will ask you methodology, also I will ask you later on. So I just need if abstract I don't need, okay. Title I need introduction, okay. Literature review I don't need because next chapter is on review of literature. Skip this. I need a research question for your study that you have selected. I need research objective of your study, okay. Skip this. Also skip this. No need for this, but I need this, okay, so that I could be sure that you will complete your study within the time frame. Skip this, and you can provide references if you have cited some study, okay. So this is the research activity that you have to do. by the next class.